What's going on, everybody? My name is Terry Hauntz, and today this is the video that I promised, showing how I did my Captain Clark animatronic. It started off just as a PVC pipe frame because I was just going to do a static of him, and this was the first iteration of the head sculpt. It was decent, but it wasn't all that accurate. Then we got over to, I have a Spirit Halloween Nightmare Harvester, and it got severely damaged in shipping, so instead of just tossing it out or selling it, I decided to turn it into, the Captain Clark. The head, a lot of people have asked about it. It is the under head shell from the animatronic that Spirit Halloween sold in 2025 called Crypt Countess. And the hands are also from Crypt Countess that were repainted. But I got the shirts, the under blue shirt from Amazon and one from a Goodwill. The pants I had gotten from a Goodwill, the sash I got from Amazon, as well as the pirate hat and the Santa belt. And what I did was I edited it to where it would fit and look more like Captain Clark's costume. Because the thing is, all of them look a lot more yellow, the ones that people have done. But I was trying to go for the more raw, natural colors, since outside of the backrooms lighting, his costume wouldn't be all that overly bright. I did end up swapping out the sash color though, because that was entirely wrong and it really just looked like shit. But I added some permablood going down his shirt. I tried to mimic it as best I could, and I tried to get the collar as best as I could as well with the time that I had. I added the gold trimming to the vest as well as the hat. I added the shoe on the back, which is something a lot of people kept asking me about, but it is there, I promise. Then I started, this is when I moved it out of my room and moved into my workspace. And it started going really well around this point, because that's when I started adding the dirt and grime to the costume. And then after I finished up with that, that's when I swapped out the sash, so it looks a whole lot better now already. And then I added the feather to the hat, which I did end up taking off the hat at one point and trimming it. In that video, you can also see where I added the bandana underneath the hat, the red bandana that he wears. This is what I started also gluing the fingers down and sculpting around it on the hands, because that's when the photos of the hands started showing up. That was the first design for the leg and both the legs. The sock leg looked like shit, and the peg leg was really undetailed, and I wasn't satisfied with how that looked. This is when I started actually doing the proper paint job on it. I added the rings, and then I gave it a black matte base tone, and then I went in with different brighter and then darker shades of brown so I could try to match the skin tone as best as possible, because I didn't want it to be too dark, but I didn't want it to be too bright. I wanted to try to get as close to the actor's skin tone as possible, that way it matched up with the character. Then with the rings, I made them out of foam that I wrapped around the finger, and then I added like an actual physical gem on top of that, and then I painted it over depending on what color the ring was supposed to be. I cut the pant legs, and I also added a proper boot and fixed all that there. That's when I added the little tassel at the end, little ribbon. Then I started adding a little bit more shaping to the shoulder and reshaped it a lot more, gave him a more accurate pose. Then I added the lacing to the ends of the sleeve, which was something I tried to do. I also swapped out that bracelet that was on there temporarily because it didn't look good. Then I added the lacing to both the sleeves, and I tried to edit the posing a little bit more. I kind of just kept messing with the posing here and there, and then kept working on the hat because I wasn't satisfied with how the hat turned out. I kept working on it because I really wanted to make sure that I got the hat as close as I possibly could, and so that it didn't look like shit. That was my main worry with this project, is I wanted it to look good, but it has to be as lightweight as possible so that it would, of course, work. But then I started working on some of the other parts of it. I redid the coat, of course. This is when I got another one of those tunics from Amazon, and I glued it down and gave him a proper lengthed coat. Then I added the pockets, And then right here was the audio that I came up with for the animatronic. And a lot of people have gotten annoyed or angry with me about the fact that I used audio from the life form for the Captain Clark. But at the same time, though, at the time of doing this, there wasn't any actual audio rips of Captain Clark from the movie outside of the one of him doing like the roaring when he's on top of Mary. And then in the scene of the film, whenever you can hear him say ahoy in the background, those were the only two actual audio clips, and all the other ones is just him moaning and groaning. And the closest thing to that you could possibly use was audio of the life form from the Backrooms movie. So, well, not from the Backrooms movie, but from the series. So that's what I ended up using there, and I just added a bunch of effects to it to where it sounded a little bit more like Clark. So, it worked for what I was trying to do. You know, it got the job done. I know a lot of people got pissed off at me about that, but at the same time, though, I mean, what can you do? You got to make do with what you got. You either have a Captain Clark with audio or you don't. And it was either have it with audio and make it a lot cooler or don't. So I chose the route of actually giving it audio because that would have made it cooler. But here are some of the actual raw photos that I took. I don't have many of the photos left from when I was working on it, but these were whenever I was working on the sash and everything, because what I did is I actually took a lighter to the sash because the fabric that it kind of caused the fabric to scruffle up and stretch inward and made it more tight around the waist so that it looked more, and also made it more dirty and distressed. And then here is when I added the actual face and everything on, which I'm still very happy with how it turned out, because the face was something I was really worried about. It took a lot longer than I was expecting to make, but I'm very happy that it finally turned out really well. It turned out really nice. And I specifically chose the head from Crypt Countess because it already had the good base facial structure with the really bony cheekbones, and the mouth area was entirely open, so I could just sculpt that entirely from scratch. And what I did to cut cost or issues with the neck region is I had spare brown fabric, and I just glued it around the neck. That way I could just push that down into the part of the costume where the neck would go down into, because if there was anything down in that part of the costume, it wouldn't be able to turn its head properly. So I figured if I do that, it'll make it still look like he has a proper neck, but in a way to where it's not going to cause issues. But that was the project. That was the Captain Clark animatronic I did. I would absolutely love to see other people do a project like this. This was one of my most proudest creations I've done, and it was just overall a really fun experience that I had, and I really enjoyed it. But that's going to do it for today's video. My name's Tara Hauntz, and I'll make more customs. I've already got some I've been working on, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, everybody. But seriously, before I go, genuinely thank you so much for 3,000 on YouTube. I've been working towards this for about 5 years now, and it genuinely means the absolute world to me that I finally got here. Genuinely thank you all. Bye, everybody.